My friends, let me tell you about a janitor named Ronald Reed. Every morning he swept the floors of a gas station in Vermont. He wore the same old coat for years, patched his clothes instead of buying new ones, and drove a beat-up Toyota that had seen better decades. When Ronald passed away at age 92, do you know what happened? The entire town was shocked to discover that this humble janitor had accumulated a fortune of over $8 million. $8 million from sweeping floors and living simply. How is this possible? How does a man earning minimum wage become wealthier than doctors, lawyers, and business executives in his community? The answer, my dear friends, lies not in what Ronald earned, but in the powerful habits he practiced every single day. Today, I'm going to share with you the exact habits that can transform anyone, and I mean anyone, from financial struggle to genuine wealth. These aren't get-rich-quick schemes or lottery fantasies. These are the time-tested principles that have created more millionaires than any other method in human history. And the beautiful truth is this: these habits are so simple that anyone can start practicing them today. So buckle up, because in the next 30 minutes, your entire relationship with money is about to change forever. Let me share with you the most fundamental truth about building wealth, a truth that every rich person understands, but most people completely ignore. Wealth is not about how much you earn, it's about how much you keep. I once knew a factory worker named Sam who earned $35,000 a year. His neighbor, a successful lawyer, earned $150,000 annually. Guess who retired as a millionaire? Sam, the factory worker. Why? Because Sam understood the golden rule of wealth: live below your means. The lawyer, despite earning 4 times more, spent every penny and then some. Designer clothes, expensive cars, a massive mortgage on a house he couldn't truly afford. He looked wealthy, but he was actually broke. Sam, on the other hand, lived in a modest home, drove a reliable used car, and consistently spent less than he earned. This is what I call the wealth paradox. The people who look richest are often the poorest, while the truly wealthy often live surprisingly modest lives. Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, still lives in the same house he bought in 1958 for $31,500. He drives his own car and eats at McDonald's. Mark Cuban lived with 6 roommates and slept on the floor even while building his first $1 million business. But here's the psychology behind this that most people miss. When you live below your means, you create something magical called a wealth gap. This gap is the space between what you earn and what you spend. And this gap, my friends, is where all wealth is born. Let me give you a practical framework I call the 50-30-20 rule. 50% of your income goes to absolute necessities, rent, groceries, utilities. 30% goes to wants and lifestyle, dining out, entertainment, hobbies. 20% goes directly to wealth building, savings, and investments. But here's the Carnegie twist. If you want to become truly wealthy, flip those last 2 numbers. Live on 50% necessities and 30% wealth building, with only 20% for wants. I can hear some of you thinking, but that sounds like deprivation. Let me reframe this for you. Living below your means isn't about being cheap. It's about being intentional. It's about choosing long-term wealth over short-term pleasure. Think of it this way. Every dollar you don't spend today is a soldier in your wealth army. Send enough soldiers into battle, and they'll return with reinforcements. This is the compound effect in action. Remember our janitor friend Ronald? He didn't live below his means because he was forced to. He chose to. He understood that every small sacrifice today was building a fortune for tomorrow. And that fortune gave him something more valuable than any luxury item: complete financial freedom. So starting today, I challenge you to find just one area where you can reduce your spending by 10%. Maybe it's eating out less, maybe it's canceling a subscription you rarely use, maybe it's buying generic brands instead of name brands. Small changes, implemented consistently, create extraordinary results. Now let me tell you about the most powerful wealth building tool ever invented. Something so simple that a child could understand it, yet so effective that it has created more millionaires than any other single strategy. It's called paying yourself first. And here's how it works. The moment your paycheck arrives, before you pay any bills, before you buy any groceries, before you spend a single penny, you automatically transfer a portion of that money to your wealth building account. Most people do this backwards. They pay everyone else first, the landlord, the credit card company, the grocery store, and then save whatever is left over. The problem, there's never anything left over. As human beings, we have an incredible ability to spend exactly what we have available. But when you pay yourself first, something magical happens. You force yourself to live on less, and surprisingly, you discover that you can live just fine on that reduced amount. It's like your expenses automatically adjust to fit your available income. Let me share the story of Julia, a nurse who started this habit at age 25. She earned $45,000 a year and decided to pay herself first by automatically investing $300 every single month. That's just $10 a day. Julia never missed that money because she never saw it. It was automatically transferred to her investment account before she could spend it. By age 65, Julia had accumulated over $2.4 million. Think about that. A nurse became a multimillionaire by consistently investing just $10 a day. That's less than what most people spend on coffee and lunch. But here's the key. Julia didn't rely on willpower or discipline. She made it automatic. She set up her bank account so the money was transferred without her thinking about it. She removed the human element, the temptation to spend that money instead. This is what I call effortless wealth building. When you automate your savings and investments, you remove all the mental barriers that prevent people from building wealth. You don't have to remember to save. You don't have to fight the temptation to spend. You don't have to make difficult decisions every month. It just happens. Now, let me give you the exact system to implement this. First, calculate 20% of your take-home pay. If you earn $3,000 per month after taxes, that's $600. If that feels like too much, start with 10% or even 5%. The amount is less important than the habit. Second, set up an automatic transfer for the day after your paycheck arrives. If you get paid on the 15th, set the transfer for the 16th. This money goes into a separate account, preferably one that's not easy to access with a debit card. Third, divide this money into 3 buckets. 60% goes into long-term investments, index funds, retirement accounts. 30% goes into an emergency fund until you have 6 months of expenses saved. 10% goes into an opportunity fund for investments or business opportunities. The beauty of this system is that it grows automatically. As your income increases, your automated savings increase proportionally. You're building wealth while you sleep, while you work, while you're on vacation. Your money is working harder than you are. I knew a taxi driver in New York who implemented this system. He earned about $40,000 a year, but automated $200 per month into investments. After 30 years, he had over $850,000. He told me, "I became rich so slowly I didn't even notice it happening." That's the power of automation. Wealth becomes inevitable when you remove the barriers and make it automatic. My friends, let me share with you the difference between the wealthy and everyone else. Poor people buy things that lose value. Middle-class people buy things that stay the same value. Rich people buy things that increase in value. This is the fundamental distinction between assets and liabilities, and understanding this difference will change your financial life forever. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out of your pocket. It's that simple. Yet most people spend their entire lives buying liabilities while thinking they're building wealth. Let me tell you about Maria, a teacher who understood this principle better than most Wall Street executives. Instead of buying a new car every few years, Maria bought her cars used and kept them running for a decade or more. Instead of upgrading to a bigger house to impress her neighbors, she bought a duplex and rented out one side. While her friends were making car payments and struggling with mortgages, Maria was collecting rental income and watching her investments grow. By age 50, she owned 4 rental properties and had a stock portfolio worth over $800,000. The rental income from her properties exceeded her teaching salary. The beautiful thing about appreciating assets is that they work for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. While you're sleeping, your investments are growing. While you're on vacation, your rental properties are generating income. While you're at your day job, your money is making money. Let me break down the most powerful appreciating assets that ordinary people can invest in. Stock market investments. The stock market has returned an average of 10% per year for the past century. This might seem complicated, but it doesn't have to be. Start with broad market index funds. They give you ownership in hundreds of companies with a single purchase. Warren Buffett himself recommends index funds for ordinary investors. Real estate. Property has been creating wealth for thousands of years. You can start small, maybe with a duplex where you live in one side and rent the other. The tenant's rent helps pay your mortgage, and you benefit from the property's appreciation over time. Your own skills and education. This is the most overlooked asset of all. Every book you read, every skill you develop, every course you take increases your earning potential. A $500 course that increases your income by $5,000 per year is a 1,000% return on investment. Business ownership. This doesn't mean you need to quit your job and start the next Google. You can start small, maybe a side business that generates an extra $500 per month. That business can grow and eventually replace your job income. Here's the key principle. Every dollar you earn should either be consumed or invested in something that will earn you more dollars in the future. Rich people understand that money is a tool for making more money. I want to share the story of Carlos, a construction worker who started investing $150 per month in index funds at age 30. He never earned more than $50,000 in any year, but he was consistent. By age 65, his investments were worth over $1.8 million. Carlos became a millionaire by simply and consistently investing in appreciating assets. The magic happens through compound interest. Einstein called it the eighth wonder of the world. When your investments earn returns, and those returns earn returns, and those returns earn returns, wealth grows exponentially. But here's what most people get wrong. They think they need to time the market, or pick individual stocks, or find the next hot investment. That's speculation, not investing. Real wealth building is boring. It's consistent. It's buying quality assets and holding them for decades. Start with what you can afford. Even $50 per month invested consistently will create substantial wealth over time. The key is to start now and never stop. Time is your greatest asset in building wealth, and you can never get back the time you waste waiting for the perfect moment to begin. Let me tell you about the night that changed everything for Robert, a middle manager at a manufacturing company. He was 45 years old, had worked for the same company for 15 years, and felt financially secure with his $65,000 salary. Then came the phone call. The company was downsizing. His department was being eliminated. After 15 years of loyal service, Robert was unemployed with just 2 weeks severance pay. As Robert sat in his car in the company parking lot that night, he made a vow that would transform his financial future. He would never again depend on a single source of income. This is one of the most crucial differences between the wealthy and everyone else. Average people have one income stream, their job. Wealthy people have multiple income streams. When one stream dries up, the others keep flowing. The wealthy understand a fundamental truth. Your job is not your security. Your skills, your assets, and your multiple income streams are your security. Let me share the different types of income streams and how you can develop each one. Earned income. This is your job, your salary, your hourly wages. It's where most people start, but it should never be where they end. Earned income is limited by time. You only have 24 hours in a day, and you can only work so many of them. Investment income. This comes from your stock dividends, bond interest, and capital gains. As we discussed earlier, this income grows while you sleep. The beautiful thing about investment income is that it's not tied to your time or effort. Rental income. Real estate can provide steady monthly cash flow. Even if you start with a single rental property that provides $200 per month in positive cash flow, you've created a second income stream. Business income. This could be a side business, a consulting practice, or even selling products online. The key is to create something that can generate income independent of your time. Royalty income. This comes from creating something once and getting paid repeatedly. It could be writing a book, creating an online course, licensing a patent, or even creating content on platforms like YouTube. Now, let me give you a practical roadmap for developing multiple income streams. Phase 1. Focus on maximizing your earned income. Get better at your job, ask for raises, develop new skills, change companies if necessary. Use this increased income to fund your other streams. Phase 2. Start investing consistently. Even while building other income streams, your investment income should be growing automatically through compound interest. Phase 3. Develop a side business or skill-based income stream. This might start as just a few hours per week, but it can grow over time. Phase 4. Consider real estate or other asset-based income streams once you have the capital and experience. Let me tell you what happened to Robert after he lost his job. Instead of just finding another job, he spent 3 months developing a plan. He had always been good with numbers and enjoyed helping people with their taxes. Robert got his tax preparation certification and started a small tax service from his home. He also began freelance bookkeeping for small businesses. Within 2 years, his combined income from these sources exceeded his old salary. But here's the beautiful part. Robert also went back to work as a financial manager at a different company. Now he had 3 income streams instead of 1. 5 years later, his side businesses were generating enough income that he could have quit his day job, but he chose to keep it because he enjoyed the work and the additional security. The key to multiple income streams is to start small and grow gradually. Don't try to replace your job income overnight. Instead, focus on creating small additional income sources that can grow over time. I knew a teacher who started tutoring students for $20 per hour on weekends. That tutoring grew into a full educational consulting business that eventually generated more income than her teaching salary. But she started with just 2 hours per week. Remember, wealthy people don't work harder than everyone else. They work smarter. They create systems and assets that generate income without their constant presence. Multiple income streams give you options, security, and the ability to weather any financial storm. My friends, let me share with you the most valuable investment you will ever make. It's not in stocks, not in real estate, not in gold or cryptocurrency. The most valuable investment you can make is in yourself, in your knowledge, your skills, and your abilities. Here's a profound truth that separates the wealthy from everyone else. Poor people see education as something that ends with school. Wealthy people see education as something that never ends. Let me tell you about Jennifer, a bank teller who earned $28,000 per year. Every lunch break, instead of scrolling through social media or gossiping with coworkers, Jennifer read books about finance, investing, and personal development. Every weekend, she took online courses to improve her skills. Within 2 years, Jennifer had learned enough about financial planning to pass her certification exam. She became a financial advisor and tripled her income. But she didn't stop there. She continued learning about real estate, started a financial education blog, and eventually built a multi-million-dollar financial planning practice. The transformation didn't happen because Jennifer was naturally brilliant or had special advantages. It happened because she committed to continuous learning and skill development. Here's what most people don't understand. In today's economy, your income is directly tied to the value you provide to others, and the value you provide is directly tied to your knowledge and skills. Therefore, investing in your knowledge and skills is the highest return investment you can make. Think about it this way. If you spend $1,000 on a course that increases your earning potential by $5,000 per year, that's a 500% annual return on investment. Show me a stock or real estate investment that can guarantee those returns. But here's the beautiful secret. You don't need to spend thousands of dollars to dramatically increase your knowledge and skills. We live in the golden age of learning. There are more high-quality, low-cost educational resources available today than ever before in human history. Let me give you a practical framework for continuous learning. The daily 30-minute rule. Commit to spending just 30 minutes every day learning something new that could improve your financial situation. That's 3.5 hours per week, 182 hours per year. That's equivalent to a month of full-time learning annually. Read biographies of successful people. Success leaves clues. Study how wealthy people think, what habits they practice, what decisions they make. You'll find patterns that you can apply to your own life. Learn high-value skills. Focus on skills that directly impact your earning potential. These might include sales, marketing, public speaking, negotiation, leadership, or technical skills relevant to your industry. Stay current in your field. Industries change rapidly. The skills that got you your current job may not be enough to keep it or advance to the next level. Stay ahead of the curve by continuously updating your knowledge. Learn about money. This seems obvious, but most people know more about their favorite TV show than about personal finance. Study investing, understand taxes, learn about business, understand how money works. Let me share the story of Mike, a factory worker who decided to learn about investing during his lunch breaks. He started with basic books about the stock market and gradually worked his way up to more advanced concepts. Within 5 years, Mike was managing his own investment portfolio so successfully that his investment returns exceeded his salary from the factory. Mike didn't have an MBA or a finance degree. He simply committed to learning 30 minutes per day about investing. That commitment transformed him from a factory worker into a skilled investor. Here's another crucial point. Learning isn't just about formal education or courses. Some of the most valuable learning comes from experience and mentorship. Seek out successful people in your field and learn from them. Most successful people are willing to share their knowledge with someone who is genuinely interested in learning. I remember reading about a young man who wanted to learn about real estate investing. Instead of just reading books, he volunteered to help a successful real estate investor with small tasks in exchange for mentorship. Within 2 years, he had learned enough to start his own real estate business. The key is to be intentional about your learning. Don't just consume information randomly. Focus on learning things that will directly impact your ability to build wealth. My dear friends, we've covered 5 powerful habits that can transform anyone from financial struggle to genuine wealth. Let me remind you of these life-changing principles. First, live below your means. Create that magical wealth gap between what you earn and what you spend. Second, automate your wealth building. Pay yourself first and make saving effortless. Third, invest in appreciating assets. Let your money work harder than you do. Fourth, develop multiple income streams. Never depend on a single source of income. Fifth, never stop learning. Invest in yourself and your skills continuously. These habits worked for Ronald Reed, the janitor who became a multimillionaire. They worked for Julia, the nurse who built a $2.4 million portfolio. They worked for Maria, the teacher who created financial freedom through real estate. And they will work for you. But here's the crucial point. Knowledge without action is worthless. You can watch 1,000 videos about wealth building, read 100 books, attend dozens of seminars, but until you take action, nothing will change. So I challenge you right now, pick one of these 5 habits and commit to implementing it this week. Not next month, not next year, this week. Maybe you'll set up an automatic transfer to start paying yourself first. Maybe you'll open an investment account and make your first purchase. Maybe you'll start that side business you've been thinking about. Maybe you'll buy your first book about personal finance. The specific action is less important than the act of beginning. Wealth building is not about perfection. It's about progress. Every small step you take today moves you closer to financial freedom. Remember, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. Your future wealthy self is depending on the decisions you make right now. Start today. Start small, but start. Your journey to wealth begins with a single step, and that step can happen today. Thank you for spending these 30 minutes with me. Now go out there and build the wealth you deserve.